Hey guys, okay, so I listened to I listened to a John Maxwell podcast, and I'm gonna be honest, when I first started listening to it a few months ago, it was boring. His voice to me was kind of boring, but when when you listen to it and you sit down with pen and paper, it's mind blowing. Like I don't get distracted. His information is so good. He's all about leadership, an amazing leader. So much to learn from him. But I listened to a podcast about attitude and I took notes on it because I just thought it was absolutely amazing and I wanted to share it with you. A lot of this stuff can relate to the business, but just like everyday life and whatever your other job is, like literally anything. So I wanted to share it with you. The title is called Attitude, the Difference Maker. So during this podcast, he talked about the 5 big challenges that we have when trying to keep our attitude positive or up, whatever the word is that you want to use. So we're going to go over those 5 challenges, and then we're going to talk about how to deal with those challenges. And I just think that you should have pen and paper in front of you right now to take notes, because I feel like there's going to be little things that I say that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, pause. This is really good. Let me write it down. I'm going to be like, I read over my notes once, and then I wanted to do this, but I swear I think I'm going to be reading over these notes like every other day until I have it memorized, because it's just so good and it's things that we need to work on every day, because your attitude really is the difference maker in all that you do. Okay, it doesn't matter how smart you are, how good of a leader, how anything you are. If your attitude sucks, everything's going to suck. Okay, so the 5 big challenges that we have with keeping our attitude up. Number 1, it's discouragement. So guess what? We all get discouraged. We get discouraged every week. Sometimes we get discouraged every day of the week. It happens to everybody. But there's 2 types of people when it comes to discouragement. There's splatters and there's bouncers. Splatters are people who hit rock bottom and everything falls apart and their life just crumbles and they just stay there. They're like splat on the bottom and they can't move. Then there are bouncers who hit rock bottom and then they get up and they pull themselves together. So when you lose rank in this business, are you going to be a splatter and just be like, I lost rank. I'm done. I suck. This is not made for me. I'm just going to be Ruby forever. Or are you a bouncer who you lose rank and you're like, hey, it's okay. I'm just going to build my team. I'm just going to get new blood. I'm just going to get new distributors. And you put yourself up and you bounce back. The question for you is, are you going to give up or are you going to get up? Okay. So how do we deal with discouragement? Number 1, find a person that can lift you up. Usually that should be your upline or a sideline, someone that you can look up to, not your downline. Okay, you don't want to go to somebody who's under you, and I'm guilty of this. You don't want to go to somebody who is under you and talk about how discouraged you are and just have a poor attitude towards them, because number 1, your attitude rubs off. If somebody's got bad vibes, they have a poor attitude, it rubs off to the entire team. So you do not want to take that to your downline, because it's just going to rub off on them. You want to go to somebody who's above you, who's been through what you're going through, or even a sideline that you can really trust and confide in. Number 2, say the right words to yourself. Okay, this one hit me hard. He said, most of the unhappiness in your life is due to the fact that you are listening to yourself rather than talking to yourself. I was like, how true is that? How true is that? Listening is very passive. Okay, you wake up in the morning, and as soon as you wake up, thoughts flood your head. You didn't invite them in. You didn't tell them where to go. They just flood in. You open your eyes or your alarm goes off and you're like, it's cold. I don't want to get out of bed. My bed is comfortable. I don't want to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. Oh my gosh, I'm already stressed. And you didn't even get out of bed yet. So are you going to choose to listen to all of those things that come into our brains? And it comes into everybody's brain. Are you going to choose to listen to them? Or are you going to choose to talk yourself through or out of it? Okay. To deal with discouragement, you have to be active and you have to talk to yourself. Okay. Even doing something active like working out can help so much with your attitude and like literally everything. Okay. So the third thing is have perspective. So this means like when you're discouraged, have some perspective. Like if you joined this business for $200 a month and you're now making $800 a month and you're now discouraged because your check went down to $600 a month, how long are you going to sit there for? You have to remember why you joined. You have to have some perspective. You wanted to make $200 a month and you've been making $800 and you dropped down to $6. So you're still doing what you wanted to do. Okay, so have some perspective of like how discouraged do you need to be and how long do you need to sit there. You don't want to sit there. You want to be a bouncer. And then number 4 is make the right decisions. So kind of piggybacking off the last one, like have some perspective. Like if you are above what you joined for, have perspective. But let's say that you joined for $200 a month and you're not making $200 a month yet. And you're discouraged. How do you deal with that? Well, have you been making the right decisions? Are you putting the work in? Or are you just posting once a week? Are you putting in the effort? Or are you just copying people's posts? Have you created your own host of posts? Or are you just copying, pasting whatever your leader gave you and hope that the Facebook algorithm doesn't catch on? You have to make the right decisions. Okay, so that was the first challenge of discouragement. Okay. The second thing that can bring our attitude down is problems. Excuse me. So guess what? Everybody's got problems. You're not the only one. There's a difference though. There are problem spotters and there are problem solvers. Problem spotters are like, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. Problem solvers say, okay, this is the issue. How do we solve it? What can we do? And they start brainstorming. Okay, so how do we deal with problems? Number 1, you need to define if it's a problem. If you can do something about it, it's a problem. If you can't do anything about it, it's just a fact of life and you need to move on. Okay. Number 2, anticipate the problems. Now this is really hard because like we don't want to sit here and be like, well, this could happen or this could happen, you know, anticipate all these problems. But when we anticipate problems, we're prepared and we can fix the problem or move forward from that problem faster. Okay. So that could be something like anticipating a problem. Let's say like you have kids or just everybody in life, like life throws things at you. Okay. So let's say now it's 8:00 at night, you're home from work, the kids still haven't bathed, there's dinner dishes everywhere, it was a mess, your kids still aren't in bed because they haven't bathed, they have to bathe, they have to get in bed, you have to clean the kitchen, all these things, and you're just exhausted. Do you think you're going to work your business? No. But if you had anticipated this problem, you would have woken up an hour earlier to get all of your tasks done that you needed to for the business so that when this came, it's okay. I don't have to stress about the business. I got what I needed done. And anything that I do after I get home from work is extra. Okay, that's anticipating a problem. And then number 3 is embracing each problem as an opportunity. Okay, problems are just a way to get creative. It's just an opportunity for growth, to learn something new. All right. Okay, so moving on to number 3, the third thing that can bring our attitude down is change. How do we deal with change? Number 1, you have to know that change is always going to happen forever and ever for the rest of your life. Here's a quote that he said. It says, "It's not about how well you can adapt to change. It's about how well you can anticipate change." So expect it's going to happen forever. Number 2, make a commitment to pay the price for change. That was a little hard for me to understand. But let's say we're making $500 a month, and we want to get to 1,000. That's a change. And so you're going to have to change to make that happen, right? So what kind of price are you going to have to pay for that? You're going to have to put in more work. So you're either going to wake up earlier, or you're not going to hang out with your coworkers on your lunch. You're going to go sit in your car while you eat lunch and get your work done and get your messages sent out. That's a price that you're paying for this thing that you want. Where am I? The next thing, number 3, is decide what you are not willing to change, such as your faith, time spent with family, things like that. When you know what is not going to change, what you are not willing to change no matter what, and you can cling to those things, that is just going to make yourself feel more stable and more in control, because there's a lot of things that change that you can't control. But when you have those core things that you know won't change and you can control them, cling to those, okay? Big thing for me is like my morning routine. I wake up and I straighten up the house, and then I sit down with coffee, I post my story, and then I do my devotional, read the Bible, and write out my goals. So that's basically like my faith, right? I know that that's not going to change. So I cling to that. So when I am down, or if I'm having a bad morning, usually it's because I didn't do that. Maybe you're like a really big family person. Create certain traditions. Like it could even be things like the last Friday of every month, you do something specific as a family, or Sunday mornings, you do this as a family. Whatever it is, make something so that it's there and you can look forward to that. Number 4, have realistic understanding of change. So people who are good at dealing with change, these are some characteristics that they have, and we want to embrace and embody these characteristics. So number 1, these people are confident. They're self-motivated. They're goal-driven. They enjoy being challenged. They're open-minded and optimistic. They simplify change. They break it down. They have a sense of humor, and they're flexible. So those are things that we want to embrace so that we can be better at dealing with change. I know I am terrible at dealing with change. I hate change so much. So these are going to be things that I'm going to put in my affirmations that I'm going to say aloud every day. I am confident. I am self-motivated. I am open-minded. I've become a lot more open-minded. I used to not be at all, you guys. Okay, so these are things that you want to say to yourself. I am flexible, okay? Okay. Number 4, the 4th thing that can bring our attitude down is fear. So fear causes inaction and distraction. It gets our eyes taken off of the goal, right? So if our goal when we join this is to make $500 a month to pay for a specific bill, and we have fear of what other people will think, then that is taking our eyes off of the goal. We're going to be too afraid to even post or message or reach out to people because we're afraid of what other people are going to think. We can't even get to our goal. We're distracted from the fear. And now we're inactive. We can't do anything because we're afraid. So how do we deal with this? Number 1, we need to just discover the foundation of the fear and know that fears are not based on facts. They're based on feelings. So if we're afraid of what people will think, this probably came from a time when you were with somebody else did something different out of the norm, and that person that you were with talked about that person who did something different, talked poorly about them, made fun of them, whatever it was. So now you feel like, well, what's going to happen to me? Because I'm doing something different. Guess what? That person who talked poorly about that other person who did something different or out of the norm, it's a reflection on them. It's not a reflection on that person who's doing something different to better their life. Or even if it's not to better their life, it's still a reflection on them as a person. They're too worried about somebody else. They're not worried about themselves enough. Okay? It is a reflection on themselves. It is not a reflection on you. Another thing is like, if you're stuck at an income, let's say you've been making $2,000 a month for the last 9 months and you just can't get past it. Like, you're so focused on double diamond and for some reason you just can't get there. One of the reasons could be of something to do with your money mindset. I know I've been struggling with that. I never thought that I would be able to make over $2,000 a month in any job that I ever made. I just didn't think, like, I'm a sports coach. Like, they don't make money. So that's what I always thought. Like, I would never be able to make more money. I'd never be able to be a stay-at-home. I'm like, we can never afford that as a family, so why would I be able to afford that? Okay, so that's a mindset, a money mindset thing that I am having to change and break through. Okay, number 2, accept fear as the price of progress. The further you go up the ladder, the higher you're going to get, the scarier it's going to get. There's going to be fears along the way in whatever you're progressing in. And it's normal. That's okay. When you push past that fear, you get to climb the ladder. Push past a fear, take another step up. Okay, you're getting higher and higher. Number 3, develop a burning desire within you. Okay, that's your goal. That's your why. Why did you join? If it's not like burning so hot inside of you, where it's like, I have to have this or I'm going to die. They always say if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. If you don't have that within you, you're not going to reach your goal. Okay? And that's been something I've been struggling with after my big goal was I wanted to purchase a car in cash. I found what car I wanted and I wrote it on my dream board and I figured out exactly how much money we needed in our bank account and how much money I didn't want to go below in our bank account. And I had everything so specific. And that was like, I so wanted that, or I just thought I was going to die if I didn't get this car. And I got it. And I was able to push past all my fears because I wanted that one thing so bad. And now, after I got that, you guys, I've been struggling to find something else that I just like, oh, I want it so bad or I'm going to die, you know? And because of that, I've been letting fear get in my way. So you need to figure out what your why is and dig so deep to where like it means so much to you that nothing is going to get in your way. Number 4, focus on things you can control. Number 5, feed the right emotion by acting and starve the wrong one. Fear will always be there, but you cannot let it dominate you. Okay, the last thing, the 5th thing that keeps us or keeps our attitude down is failure. So, number 1, here are some self-sabotaging traits about failure. So, number 1, when we expect it. Sooner or later, you're going to get what you expect. So you cannot expect that you're going to fail at something. 2, when you refuse to take risks. You have to take risks. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, okay? So take the risks. The 3rd thing is don't let failure stop you. Okay? When you fail at something, it's not personal. It's just part of the process. Here's another quote. It says, everyone is going to fail, but not everyone is going to profit from it. Okay, so how do we deal with failure when it happens? Number 1, we have to change our attitude about it. Number 2, we have to change our vocabulary. So it's not a setback, it's a springboard, okay? Failure, we can't think of it like as a setback or it's like we failed. No, it's an opportunity for growth or it's a detour. You know, we have to let failure redirect us. So that was number 3. We have to let failure redirect us, meaning if we are failing to get a loyal customer, we're failing over and over. We get to the part where we tell them the price and it's ghost, ghost, ghost. Every time, you have to change what you're doing because it's not working. So if you're failing at something and you continue to do it the same way, you're not letting failure redirect you. Okay, when you fail at something, you don't stop working towards that thing. You don't quit it. You just change the process. You just change what you're doing to get to the goal. It's a detour. You just change it up. Okay. And then the 4th thing is learn something. I wrote learn something. Okay, so when you go through a failure, when you fail at something, you can't just think of it as, oh, I failed, I quit. Because guess what? There's people that do that, and there's people who teach their kids that. They fail at something, honey, that's not for you. Let's move on. No, you need to learn something from it. Okay? Like we talked about before, it's an opportunity for growth. And then the 5th thing is to keep a sense of humor, because everyone's going to fail at something. You're going to fail at things a lot throughout your entire life. And you have to be able to laugh at yourself. You have to be able to laugh it off, learn what you needed to learn, change what you needed to change, and then go after it again. If you're so serious with yourself all the time, God, it's going to kill you. Okay, so those were the 5 things that can keep our attitude down. I know that in the past few months, I just had a poor attitude. And this podcast really hit home for me, and I hope that it helps some of you. If you like it, you guys, like the video so that I know that this helped you, and then maybe, podcasts that help me a lot, I can write notes and do this more often for you guys, okay? So I hope you guys are having an awesome, awesome weekend, and I will talk to you later.